across the deck. I can't believe it. It's a new surround. It's a very lovely little place. We've still got a fan. I'm Phil Davis, one of the so-called experts, and I'm here in Rafe Griffin's new man room.
Hello, Phil, and it's surprising that we're in May now. We still need a fan.
I know, it's ridiculous.
It is.
They reckon it's going to be 12 degrees tomorrow morning, and, well, it doesn't look like it to me. Apparently the clouds are going to roll away, but they haven't rolled as yet. I like football in winter, to be honest. I like getting rugged up, getting my jacket on.
Put the jacket on for the first time on Saturday night, but
Oh, you did?
yeah. But haven't brought out the jeans just yet. Long pants.
I had the jeans.
No, I'm a shorts man.
Yeah, well, I'm a shorts man too, but I did have my jeans. And anyway, we are talking about Flight Centre Premier League and all other types of football before we get into talking about last weekend. I was just going to couple of shout-out times.
Oh, hello. Who
Hello.
have you been
well,
socialising
look,
with?
I was socialising the other night. I was at Eastern Suburbs versus Peninsula, and I met the lovely Leona and Eleanor, and I chatted to them for ages. And the one thing that I walked away from the conversation with is that they're both really knowledgeable about the game, which is a good thing.
You walked away from them, they didn't walk away from you?
They walked away from me eventually, I would imagine.
Just like everyone does.
Just like everyone. But also I wanted to say hello to George Suka. He's a friend of mine. He's the under-16 BPL coach. I forgot to mention him last week. And we used to play together. We were the ponytail pair of assassins up front. It was, well, actually, he was the assassin, and I just kind of ran around and picked up the leftovers, but it was good to see George. He's doing fantastic. He's also working with Kieran Cooper in the futsal. I think he's the Queensland something or othery thing.
Sounds important.
Yeah, we didn't talk too much about that. We just reminisced about old times, as you do, telling each other how great we were. Oh, you were great, George. Oh, you weren't bad, Phil. Anyway, we should talk about Flight Centre Premier League, I guess, from last weekend. And, well, was nothing too much out of the ordinary, I don't think. The first game kicked off on Saturday at 5 o'clock at North Pine. We expected Holland Park Hawks to win, and they eventually did, although they were 3-2 for a while. But the return of Marek Mudley, 2 goals late in the game, and a 5-2 winners.
And Ishimoto with 2 goals as well,
Yep.
still continues his goal-scoring form. So the 2 of those up front for Holland Park will pose some threats as we're about to head into the second part of the season.
Let's hope they can keep everyone on the field, because that's been a problem. Not just suspensions. Obviously, we all remember Mudley's brain snap at Logan, but, you know, they've had their injury issues, but they're second on the ladder now. And Ben Ryan was saying to me before the season, don't big me up, don't big us up. No one ever wants me to big him up. I walked into East the other night. The first thing Glenn Brown said, did you tip against us? I said, yes. He went, good.
Didn't help, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, solid win for Holland Park. I think North Pine are going to win a game soon. They're not that bad, and with Jake Keslake back, it makes a big difference, but they just weren't good enough in that one. The next one, Logan FC 2, Albany Creek 1, Peter Kostowski 2 goals. One of my sources told me it was 2 penalties, but I put that into my report, and my wonderful editor edited that out, so I'm assuming they weren't penalties.
I'm not sure. It doesn't say here whether they were or they weren't.
Yeah.
Either way, it was 2 goals anyway, and
Yes.
Logan took the 3 points. Can we call them a rejuvenated Logan Lightning now?
I think so. I think they've turned it around. Beating Peninsula and then beating Albany Creek. Both teams have had their issues, I guess, but still, a win over 2 of those Northsiders is 6 points, and Logan find themselves about 3 outside the top. Two outside the top 4, aren't they?
Logan Lightning on 16 points, 1 point behind Rochedale in 4th. And it all happened for Albany Creek in the last 10 minutes. 3 send-offs.
Less than the last 2 minutes. The first player went in the 83rd.
Yeah.
And then Adam Pittock and the keeper.
Go on. Ari Ravesh, I think, is the best pronunciation of it.
I believe there was a corner in the 96th minute, and of course the keeper was up. Pittock is the centre half, so he would have been up there anyway. They're all up there, and it all went off, and it all broke down. And the next thing you know, it was ping, ping, football 24 coming through, red card, and that is going to be a big problem for Albany Creek, because they cannot afford to lose Pittock and Rubbish.
No, that's critical in their defensive efforts.
Yeah, I suspect that might derail this season, to be honest. We'll see what happens. Great result for Logan. They've got a big game coming up this week. The next game was Rochdale Rovers versus Mitchelton. Now, if you're a Rochdale supporter at that game, you're going to be happy as Larry, whoever the hell Larry is. Mitchelton up 2-0. Rochdale back to 2-2 at halftime and a winning goal from
Jose Majica Rodriguez, and we saw him in the FFA Cup win against Ipswich Knights, where he scored a double. He did. Also scored a double on Saturday night against Mitchelton.
And he played very well, I thought, off the bench. He's been a bit part player, but he seems to have come into form at the right time. And it's the right time for Rochdale. They're fourth still, I believe.
They are, yes.
They are fourth, and they've, of course, got the big game coming up next week. That will be on Wednesday.
Yes.
Against Moreton Bay United Jets in the Westfield FFA Cup.
Bit of a worrying sign for Mitchelton with Ben Enjoy, our man, being sent off, so he'll be out of the game on Saturday night.
Ben Enjoy will be a real issue because he hasn't scored since he couldn't stop scoring, but he attracts a lot of attention, and that's a very important thing for a striker. A very similar thing happened at East. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm sure that Scotty Mack and all the crowd at Funderwood Park.
As our esteemed colleague Darren Lutton named the place.
Yes, like Sir Walter Park with the new surface at Oldham Creek.
We're going to have a moniker for each
we're going to try, all right? Okay. We're going to have a go.
This will be interesting. Right.
It'll be very, very, very good result for Rochdale. They'll be really pleased with that because it's a handy to beat Mitchelton. Because, they're above them on the table by a point now, I think. The next game I was at, which was Eastern Suburbs versus Peninsula Power, 0-0 at half-time. And for some time after the break, about another 7 or 8 minutes, but Peninsula clicked, and I saw it, and I felt it. It was like the Force. It was like Obi-Wan Aaron Philp Kenobi transmitted the message, and I was very impressed with their second half performance. Once they got that goal on the board, Sean Furigal, they looked sharp. Their passing accuracy, I always go on about passing accuracy because I believe if you can get that right, your tempo and rhythm go up, and the opposition struggle to keep up with you because they're never in a good position to win any tackles. And it looked really good for me. Well, probably for Peninsula, but, and I don't know, I think they may have solved their problem. And it may just be a coincidence that they had to change a coach.
Yeah, it often happens, doesn't it? A new coach brings a new, fresh attitude into it, a bit of an approach, and it sort of changes the players' attitudes. But, did you see the third goal from Andre Bonotto?
I did see the third goal from Andre Bonotto. I congratulated him on it after the game, actually.
Went all right, didn't it?
It did go all right, yes. The finish, just roof of the net stuff. But the two little flicks, the little touch, it's the kind of thing we've expected from Bonotto at Lions, and he's going to make a big impact at Peninsula now, I believe. Yes, keep your eyes peeled. And I don't know, I don't really want to talk about East because they're too much of a brain freezer.
Well, I will bring them into the conversation.
Talk about East.
So, obviously, Peninsula 3-0 up after that goal to Andre Bonotto.
Yeah.
Michael Ryan pulls one back 3-1. And then Carter Glockner had a chance there, makes it 3. If it goes to 3-2, that would have made life interesting rather than the 4-1 that it ended up being with Kawakami getting that goal at the death for Peninsula. But if it was 3-2, who knows what might have happened. I think Steve Glockner said his side's playing without a bit of luck at the moment.
Well, they are playing without luck, but they well...
Do you create your own luck, Phil?
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know whether they're so much playing without luck. They're very inconsistent. That's the issue. You do create your own luck to an extent, but luck is an intangible. You can't really rely on it. You do create your own luck because if you create more chances... I was right behind Carter Glockner when he hit that. Jake Reesby saved that.
Then on Sunday, Ipswich Knights in Capella Bar. Yeah,
well, look, I didn't get a lot of feedback from that game, to be honest, but Capella Bar 1-0 winners over Ipswich Knights, and the goal was scored by Sam Fellows. He's been a real quality addition for Capella Bar. He's stepped up to the mark. Looks like he's found the right team. He's fitting into their structure well. Yeah. It's not too bad a result for Ipswich, though.
Well, Herf said to us last week it's always a tough trip going up to Ipswich, particularly on a Sunday afternoon. And I think he was a bit worried, from his body. Obviously can't see it on the radio, but we could pick it up. The body language is a game he's worried about, but he's got the 3 points in the bag. And I think Stuart Drinkeld was lamenting his side and...
well, I think he said they played poorly.
Yeah.
You know. But body language from Jeff Hurford is he's basically laid back or slightly laid back, isn't he?
Slightly laid back, I think.
Yes, he came from totally laid back to... But look, that's a good win because Ipswich had their whole team back. You know, their whole 11 starting lineup were back on the park. Levinson and Robinson and Wilson. And so good win for Capalaba. And they are only 2 points away from the top 4 now as well. And we'll talk about Capalaba's game coming up this week, but it's a very important game for them,
yes,
in a sense.
Should we quickly touch on the round 6 draw from the Westfield FFA Cup?
I think we should.
So
you're the expert.
I'm the expert on the... have I told you? I
Probably.
love the FFA Cup.
Anyway, I know you do. Carry on about it.
Next Tuesday, we've got the 2 NPL teams in action, Brisbane City and Redlands. Also, Roachdale hosting the current or the reigning NPL champions in Moreton Bay down at Thunderwood Park.
Ooh, it's going to be a lot of fun at Thunderwood Park. I think you might get a really big turnout for that one. A lot bigger than they had for the catch-up round weekend one against Ipswich. We'll see how many people make the journey from Moreton Bay, but Moreton Bay United aren't going to win the title this year, are they?
Oh, no, not at the moment.
Yeah.
Especially after a 1-1 draw to Western Pride late on Sunday night.
How
did you assess Moreton Bay against Capalaba?
I thought they were very good. They played that high tempo game, which is very similar to the Strikers style. I don't know whether that's an NPL. You know, it's just you got to play the high tempo game. You know, the higher the tempo and pass the ball a lot, and, you know, which can be effective or it cannot be effective. But I have to say, I thought Moreton Bay were the better side, and they deserved to beat Capalaba. But in saying that, Capalaba did well.
0-0 coming into the break, and then I don't know how referee Carl Harper got 6 minutes of stoppage time in the first half, but in the 4th minute, penalty to Moreton Bay. And, you know, if it was only 2 minutes stoppage time, which I probably thought was the max, you know, Capalaba going 0-0 and anything's possible in that second half.
I thought it was strange how he got that stoppage time, but Scott Chandler got sold cold, didn't he? The ball, the little tap back, and it was underhit, and he made it to the first tackle. And well, look, if he hadn't have gone in for the penalty to try and take the ball away, it would have been a goal. Yep. So you know he did his best, and but yeah, look, I think Moreton Bay United will probably, for me, I think they'd be favourites to beat Rosedale. Yeah,
I think so. And then next Wednesday, we've got the 2 Capital One sides host big nights down at Moggle and Southside Eagles as they host Lions and Brisbane Strikers, respectively. So the 2 Cap 1 clubs have probably drawn the 2 highest ranking clubs left in the comp.
Yeah, I would imagine they'd be praying for rain, because rain is a good leveller. It's the only thing that's going to really... look, what can you say? They've made it this far. They have nothing to lose. Both sides have nothing to lose, and as we know in football, anything can happen.
And Moggle's already beaten an NPL side already.
They have. They're going to have to be a lot better to beat Lions. But they've beaten an NPL side. They're playing well. They've got their full team on the field. They're at home, and they are going to be up for it. Moggle have a better chance of beating Lions than Southside Eagles have of beating a Brisbane Strikers.
And the upshot of all that is that in the round 7 draw, Strikers and Lions have ended up in the same half of the draw.
So we get a new team.
We get a new team that will go through to the first for the first time.
Yeah. I'm sure that Roachdale will be hoping it's them, you know. It's more likely, of course, that we'll get a NPL side because there's 3 in that side of the draw. If Roachdale lose, it's inevitably going to be an NPL team from that side of the draw. But which, of course, it doesn't matter. We'll be following them anyway. But Lions versus Strikers. It's going to be brilliant.
If it eventuates, it'll be an absolute ripper.
And at Lions as well.
It is, yes. Yep. So before we launch into this weekend's game, I'll quickly go through the table. So speaking of Lions, they're on top of the
21
on 22 points.
22,
so despite not playing last weekend, they still have a 3-point lead over Holland Park on 19.
So they've effectively got a 6-point lead because they've got to play UQ yet.
Yes.
Yep.
Mitchelton on 18, Roachdale on 17, and then Logan and Capalaba are on 16, Peninsula in 15. Yep. So that means it's 4 points from 2nd through to 7th. East on 12, Albany Creek 11, Ipswich Knights 11, UQFC 7, and North Pine 6.
The last few years we've had some competition around the top four teams they're in the running, right? But the top four's been cut and dried. You know, 2
It's
years
just been
ago,
a matter of which order they've sort of finished in. Yeah.
2 years ago it was cut and dried after round 2. I think the top 4 teams here. I can't see that this year.
No,
I think there's about 7 teams that can make it, and I think you'll find that teams will drop in and out, and the team that finishes the last game with a win. Well, it's the last round this week, so it's a pretty good idea of what we're going to expect in 12 weeks' time,
and it's
or a little bit further.
Absolute beauties.
Yes.
This weekend.
Rochedale Rovers playing
Holland Park. But
Holland Park.
How about we go chronological order though? Saturday night, 5 p.m. Peninsula and Ipswich Knights down at AJ Kelly. What do you call it, park or field?
Field. It's got it written on if you walk in to the car park, through the gate, there's a big sign there that says AJ Jock Kelly Field.
Peninsula versus Ipswich Knights.
I believe Peninsula are in form, and they're finding their feet. They're underrated players, Matt Sauer, David Sarlin. I think that they will now perform better. And look, I don't want to put the responsibility onto the coach for that. I think that they've been playing badly, and I think but we'll see. I mean, they've been up and down all year, haven't they?
Well, based on last week's effort, you'd have to go on Peninsula.
Yeah.
But, might have to wait a couple of weeks to see whether it is all sort of clicking together. But from early signs, it appears as though it is.
We tend to get the teams travel to AJ Kelly Field. There's been a couple of upsets up there, you know, and I think they like the surface, the big field. So whether there's that much of a home advantage, I'm not entirely sure. But I'm going to stand straight up, Peninsula to win, but Ipswich can win it.
6 p.m. Saturday night, Terrelba Park.
Who are you going for?
I didn't say, did I?
Oh.
Peninsula, yes.
Okay.
6 p.m. Saturday night, Terrelba Park.
Yep.
The Brasso Cup between Mitchelton and Logan Lightning. Although one of the key protagonists has now moved on. Most viewed game on FBTV last year, of course, and not primarily because of the game, but because of what happened after the game.
Well, he's going to have to shave his head, isn't
he? That'd be interesting.
Well, they do like each other. They're very fond of each other. Although, of course, Sam has moved on, and he was the key protagonist or antagonist. Lot to play for in this one. If Shade and Bernardi are back, I think they are. But if they are back, Mitchelton will be much better. But look, I don't know. It's a tough call. I'm going to go with Logan. I went with Logan last week. They won. I'm going to go with Logan again this week to go away and get the points.
Oh. Mitchelton purely because at home, but Logan with a lot to play for. If they win this game, they're effectively back into the top 4.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that should be a good. Where are you off to that one?
I might head off to that one. Yes.
Yeah. We just moved like 10 kilometres away. You might as well. Before we go on, traffic's much better coming.
I'm glad you prefer Webster Road to Sanford Road.
Oh my God, Sanford Road! They should bomb that thing. Honestly.
6:15 Saturday night. This will be our TV game this week, the feature match. Another beauty. Holland Park Hawks versus Rochedale.
Yeah, lots to play for in this one. Second against fourth, and both teams are bobbing up and bobbing down. And, you know, Rochedale have strung a few wins together. Holland Park, big win last week. Holland Park got their players back on the park. Rochedale have lost Baird, and we don't know if Mooney's back yet. Any news? Have you heard at all, Paul Mooney?
No, I haven't heard anything yet, no.
It's very confusing talking about Mooney when you talk about Mooney. I was at the game talking about Mooney, and they thought I was talking about Mooney. You know, it's just really hard. I said, not Mooney. Anyway. Oh, God, this is a tough one to call.
I'll go in first. I'll go Rochedale.
Oh, well, I'm going to go Holland Park Hawks.
Oh, geez, we're disagreeing a lot this week.
Yeah, I know. Well, we've got to bring some antagonism in with no Sam Saif around these days.
Now you're heading out to this one. John Fredericks Park, Capella Bar versus UQFC.
Capella Bar versus UQFC. Well, do you want me to tip the winner or what do you want me to do? Tell you why they're going to win?
How many are Capella Bar going to win by?
Yeah, Capella Bar will win. I haven't seen Uni, but I've had a lot of feedback and the results aren't there. And after seeing Capella Bar last week, Andy Thompson was not back last week when they played Ipswich Knights, so let's hope that his injury is only short term, and if he's back, well, they got the full side, and it is a matter of how many. I don't want to. No, look, I won't say that. It's not a matter of how many. It's I would say only a couple of goals, but Capella Bar for sure to win that one for me.
Yeah, UQFC, after being undefeated after the first 3 games, now 6 losses in a row.
Yeah, and they haven't looked like winning really, except for against North Pine.
No, Capalaba.
I'm tipping Capalaba as well.
2 games on Sunday afternoon, both at 4 o'clock. First of all, out at Sir Walter Park, is that
Sir
what we
Walter
call
Park.
it?
Yeah, lovely surface out there.
All to play for in this one. Both sides, well, one side East on 12 in 8th, Albany Creek in 9th on 11.
Yep.
Albany Creek versus East, and really, if the loser of this game can write their final series chances off, I think.
Yeah, which is Albany Creek, because East will win because Albany Creek have lost 2 of their most important players to suspension, and possibly 3. Well, they've lost 3 to suspension, but
4, I think, if you include Cameron Miller for the game before the break.
Absolutely, he's still got one more to go, hasn't he? When we saw them play against Mitchelton, they would have been in deep doo-doo without Adam Pettick.
Absolutely.
Yep. So for me, it's East all the way. They've got their whole team available, and they will win.
Well, I'll be blunt. If East don't win this one, they don't deserve to make the top 4.
Yep. That's pretty blunt for you.
Yep.
You're kind of a nice guy.
And then the other game at 4 o'clock on Sunday at Lions Stadium, it's top versus bottom, Lions versus North Pine.
Oh, this is look-away material, isn't it? You know, North Pine will put up a good show and they'll try and hold out, but it would be the biggest upset of the season so far if they were to win. And that's taking into account that Uni beat Peninsula. You know, if North Pine can beat Lions at Lions, this is football. And I hope that North Pine improve, and I think they will. But they don't, even that most hardened supporter can't really think they're going to win this one. So I'm going for Lions, and you're going for Lions.
Yes.
We got anything else to talk about around the? Oh well, South versus Taringa.
A couple of good games in Capital One, that one, and then also North Star versus Moggle.
Yeah, indeed. North Star top of the table now. Moggle drew with South last week. It's really starting to become. Well, look, Bayside. What's happened with Bayside?
Yeah, they've dropped a couple, haven't they?
They were first, and now they're 5th. 2 losses in a row, and both of them convincing losses. 3-0 loss to Southside Eagles last week, and 5-1 to Moggle the week before.
Well, here's another. You know, it's first to 5th, 4 points separates them. Moggle's back in. First to 6th is actually first 4 points. Moggle's 2 points behind that on 16 with a game in hand, though. So,
and,
you know, as you say, from week to week, it's just bouncing around pretty much like the Flight Centre Premier League.
It is. It's. We certainly won't know who's going to go up from there. So, you look at North Star versus Moggle. I think the first place is a bit of a hoodoo, because South, they were first, and then Bayside were first. North Star now first. They're playing against Moggle. I think that Moggle are going to beat them in that one. And the other one, South versus Taringa. And that is probably, well, you know, I don't know. You can't tip a winner in that. You cannot tip a winner between South and Taringa on form or on playing ability or anything.
Well, Taringa 6-0 winners last week, bounced back to winning ways in an emphatic way. So,
if I was South for that game, I'd play it on the artificial field.
Yes.
Because they have an advantage.
Yes.
Because they're used to it.
Yes.
Well, you know, it's like going to India. You're going to play on those choppy cricket wickets, aren't you? It's one thing playing on the main field, but and it's such an important game as that, I would play it on the artificial field. But whether that's within the spirit of the game, I am not too sure. Let's hope it rains.
Tell me one final thing. You went to St. George Willawong on Sunday night.
Oh,
how was that?
Night. That was incredible. It's Capital 4. I've been to some Capital 4 games. You roll up. There's 5 people that aren't playing. One guy walking around, walking his dog, who stopped to have a sandwich and watch. I turned into whatever the street's called. I should remember off the top of my head. Camden Road. I turned into there, and as far as the eye could see, there was cars parked. And I was a long way from the. And as I got closer, I could hear music playing, and it was St. George's Day, which is a massive celebration in the Serbian culture. So it was St. George Willawong playing at St. George's Park on St. George's Day. Well, it had win written all over it, didn't it?
Threat.
It was just, and look, what an atmosphere. They had the live Serbian music. They had the most amazing, they had a cow on the spit.
A cow on the spit?
Not kidding you. Oh. Yeah, it was an ox on the spit.
Okay.
But I just looked at it and went, oh my God, that's the biggest pig I've ever seen, but it wasn't. It was a cow. And their facility is excellent there. They've got the pitch is very small, and it's fenced all the way around, so it's not going to get any bigger. But the hill on the far side, which is where I drove my car up the hill, parked, overlooking the game, and I got my chair and I sat next to my car. It was like being at the drive-in. I loved it.
Reminiscent of days gone by.
And there's such a knowledgeable crowd. I mean, the Balkan community, they love their football, you know, and it was just chat. People were talking to me about it, you know, people that, you know, the FB Media shirt is like a, you know, like a fluorescent tube to a moth. And I was surprised. I really, really had a good time, and I suspect that St George Willawong are going to head on a Acacia Ridge type assault on the divisions because they're big, strong, they play well. It's an interesting tactic. They seem to play to their three-man forward line who just get the ball anywhere in the opposition half and just run at goal. And they scored 5 goals doing that. So, you know, but I guess when you've got a pitch that's... I kind of paced it out because you pace it out from the corner flag to the... And it's a little bigger than Tarraginni's. So,
right, okay.
So there you go. That was my weekend. Well, we've been us again. And we'll be back. We'll have more guests, but at the moment it was just a case of waiting for you to stop whinging about moving house.
Yeah, we've a bit more settled in, and we've got FFA Cup when we normally record this on Wednesday, so we might drag someone in next Wednesday.
Oh, yes, indeed, we might drag someone in, and we might even go to the game again.
Let's give you a heads up. If your initials are WM, you might expect a call from Phil.
Who?
WM.
Oh, Wally Masur, the tennis player.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I know him. Yeah, don't know why we're getting a tennis player on. But yeah, we will drag someone in next week. I think that sounds like a very good idea. And of course, we will probably be at Lions Stadium, I'm guessing.
No, you'll be down at Moggle.
Oh.
That's the one advantage the Cap 1 clubs do have. At least they're hosting these 2 games.
I thought I was doing all right this week until I got to there. Yes. All right. Well, look, best of luck to all the teams this weekend. We'll be out all around the place. And the season just gets better and better and better and better. I've been Phil Davis from time to time, and you from time to time have been...
Rafe Griffin.
You, right there. We won't see you. We'll talk to you next week. Cheerio.